Hello everyone. I am Bhante Dhammaloka. I have to welcome you all. I cordially welcome you all for our Dhamma and Dharma program. Today we are going to discuss about meditation. Since here there are practitioners, disciples of the Buddha in many different traditions, we are going to talk about those different traditions just to introduce. So this is the very first one. We would have to continue many sessions on this particular subject. It's like an ocean. So in every and each of our traditions, we know we have many different ways of practicing meditation. So you would give you kind of basic introduction to your tradition, and out of that particular method would be explained and conducted to practice for every one of us to continue. So that's the idea today. So for today's program, we cordially invited Venerable Yogavachara Rahula, who participated with our the first program too. So he is going to represent from Pali tradition, and Venerable Nakagaki in Japanese tradition, living in New York, doing wonderful social and Buddhist service in the area, and Venerable Geshe Dharge, Venerable Secretary of United Sangha Council too, and Venerable Dilip Ryojun, Sri Lankan Venerable monk who ordained in Japanese tradition, Nichiren tradition, and Venerable Sutadhara, our senior, most respected monk who would dedicate the merits today, who would share the merits with us today, would also share a few words with us at the end of the program. And Venerable Suwan from Nepal, coordinator of United Sangha Council, also participating, and he is going to lead the Vandana to start today's program. Thank you. Thank you. You all are welcome for today's program. And before that, I want to introduce Stacy Polacco, founder of Buddhist Boondackers. She is going to be the presenter today. For the first time, non-monastic is going to participate and be the anchor for today's program. So she is also most warmly welcome. Thank you. Venerable Suwanna, please start Vandana. And
let's pray our homage to the Triple Gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantang Abhivandami. The Buddha is the Blessed One, the All-Enlightened One, the Holy One. I pay homage to the Buddha. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namami. Well praise the teaching of the Buddha. I pay homage to the Dhamma. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangang Namami. Well behaved, the noble disciple of the Buddha. I pay homage to the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, hello. Welcome, everybody. So we'd like to warmly welcome Venerable monks. And I believe we'll start today with the Most Venerable Yoga Vichara Rahula. So please.
Bande, you are mute.
Sorry about that.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to, as mentioned, outlining the practice of the meditation that's found in the Theravada tradition. Now, there are traditionally 40 subjects of meditation found within the Pali tradition, but primarily the practices of mindfulness and the development of the Buddha's main discourse on meditation, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, is the probably the most popular and widespread practice of Theravada meditation. Now we know there are other practices such as metta meditation and concentration meditation to attain jhanas, but the Satipatthana Sutta, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, is the Buddha's main method for, as he mentioned, overcoming sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, for abolishing ignorance and entering the right path leading to liberation. So I want to just outline this, the 4 foundations of mindfulness as being the progress in developing meditation. Now we know that the Buddhist teaching focuses on understanding and realizing the 4 noble truths about suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. And this suffering is primarily within our mind, and it's the accumulation of greed, hatred, and delusion that we've been accumulating over many lifetimes. And these defilements are basically rooted in the unconscious mind that we've been carrying over. So this practice of the 4 foundations of mindfulness is a methodological step-by-step process of bringing the mind out of the external world and going inside, because the Buddha mentioned that, that the suffering, the root of suffering is within the mind, but the mind operates through this body. And the mind is not an easy thing to immediately get a hold of. You just can't say, go away all you defilements. So the body is considered the doorway to reach the mind. And in the Satipatthana Sutta, the very first step of that is the Buddha says, sit down, cross your legs, keep your back straight, and then start observing your breathing. Now, the breathing, the Buddha started with the breathing because the breathing is sort of the bridge between the external world and the inner world. We take air in, it strikes the nose, it goes into the lungs, and then it goes out. So the breathing helps to get our mind focused in the body. And so That's why that is used. And also the breathing is developing the initial stages of concentration. So by following the stages of the mindfulness of breathing, we can reach the stage of at least the first jhana, if not more, or even a stage of access concentration. Anyway, some degree of concentration to weaken the hindrances. And so the 5 hindrances are the things that prevent our mind from gaining concentration and developing wisdom. So the breathing is used to bring the mind to the body and to get it concentrated and hopefully weaken the hindrances. And then the Buddha has us go into the body, or to develop mindfulness of the present moment. Basically, the body is our access to the present moment. And so then we become aware of when we're sitting or standing, any body. The body becomes our focus of attention, along with the breathing. And then we go into the body and start to feel how it's made up of just atoms, cells, molecules, and atoms. It's basically just condensed energy. And tuning into the flow of impermanence, seeing how all the cells of the body are constantly changing. So this is the first stage of meditation, using mindfulness of the body to get grounded, because of the world and the rising of the world, the ceasing of the world, and the path leading to the ceasing of the world is right within this 5 or 6 foot long body with its sensations, nervous system, memory, and consciousness. So that is the approach that the Buddha taught. And it's a very, almost like a scientific hypothesis and a scientific method. So the body is used as a laboratory, and the concentration is used as the microscope. So we focus our focus concentration into the body, and that allows us to start observing the feelings clearly, and we get a detachment to the body. And the second foundation of mindfulness is observing the painful and pleasant sensations that are constantly arising through all the senses. And that's where our world is created: attachment to pleasant sensations, aversion to painful sensations. And all of our life is a constant tug of war, or a push and a pull between trying to get and keep pleasurable feelings, and to get away from, or having fear of getting, painful feelings. And that causes us to get involved with the law of karma and creating a lot of unskillful actions in order to satisfy our sensual desires. To get away from pain, we seek sensual desires because we've lost that natural connection to the present moment, which is the natural state of equanimity and happiness that's there in the present moment awareness. So that's why the feelings are the next stage. Once you get centered in the body, because all the feelings are coming to the body, what you see, hear, taste, smell, touch, we're reacting to them. That's the mental process. So that gives us, being centered in the body, gives us direct access to the first level of the mind, which is reaction to feelings. And then that produces our thoughts and emotions, and so our mental activities. So once you've been able to detach yourself from pleasurable feelings and painful feelings, and the mind gets more concentrated, and it can then focus on the sankharas, and the thoughts and the emotions and the habit patterns that are deeper in the unconscious mind. And we can learn how to develop, by applying right effort, to abandon the unwholesome states, create the wholesome states, and gradually get to deeper levels of concentration and awareness, and then contemplate the Dhamma. So the fourth foundation of mindfulness is actually contemplating the Dhamma, and that's contemplating the 5 hindrances. By the time you've gone through mindfulness of the body, feelings, and the mind states, you would have had to develop, probably overcome the hindrances. And then, but anyway, you contemplate the 5 hindrances, you suppress them, and then you can, the next stage is observing the aggregates, 5 aggregates, and then the 6 senses. And you contemplate them in their impermanence and their no self nature. So in the practice of concentration and mindfulness, we speed up the rate of our perception so that we can see how quickly the 5 aggregates, feelings, perceptions, mental activities, thoughts, urges are just arising and vanishing at a very high speed, faster than a computer is processing information. We can directly observe how quickly our thought processes and consciousness arises and vanishes. And this is called the Vipassana meditation. So this is the advanced level of the development of insight. And it's directly related to no self. And the feeling of a self and an I within our consciousness is the deepest state of delusion. And the sense of self is in direct proportion to the amount of clinging and attachment that we have to pleasant and painful sensations and the objects that go along with them. So when you speed up the rate of perception and see how quickly things are arising and vanishing, there's no time for the mind to bring in the past and future connected with any of these objects. And so therefore the sense of self starts to fade away, because the sense of self is in direct proportion to the amount of identification and clinging to any of the 5 aggregates. So as you're doing that, the mindfulness and the concentration gets even stronger and stronger and stronger. And then as you're able to sustain that long enough, then the sense of self totally dissolves, sort of like an ice cube. The sense of self is like an ice cube floating in water. But the ice cube is made of water, isn't it? But it thinks it's different. So the individual self, as long as it's clinging to objects, it thinks it's different from those objects. But as you speed up the rate of perception and can no longer have time to cling on to any particular one, the sense of self starts melting. That ice cube of the ego starts melting. And when that completely melts and becomes sort of one with the water, that's when you have the experience of emptiness, and you have that deepest insight into no self and into the stream. So in very short, that is the process of mindfulness and vipassana meditation and concentration, the development of mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Those are the 3 phases of the meditation process. It starts with mindfulness. As you develop mindfulness, you become concentrated. And when mindfulness and concentration are equally balanced, then that gives rise to the wisdom into the nature of impermanence and no self, and then realizing the stages of liberation. So kind of in short, that is the practice of, the main practice of the Theravada meditation. And so I think now, is that enough time, Bhante? Should I start the meditation now or go on more?
I think, Venerable Sir, now we can conduct meditation a little bit, right?
Okay, now, of course, this is a very big practice, so I'm just going to give a very simple sort of guided meditation on just learning how to focus on the posture and then on your breathing, and try to get the mind to become centered and grounded in the breathing body to reach that, get a taste of that present moment awareness. So try to keep your spine and head in a straight line, or to keep your chin lifted up level to the floor. Gently close your eyes. Or just try to feel your eyes in the sockets From that point behind the eyes, try to feel the outline of the body. Feel your head on top. Feel those arms and hands at the sides. Feel your buttocks and feet pressing the floor underneath. And just remind yourself of sitting. Just know that the body is sitting by feeling it. And then we're going to tune into the breathing. You can focus your attention on the tips of the nostrils if you like, or a better method for developing the body-centered awareness is to feel the expanding and contracting movements of your abdomen, rib cage, or chest. And it helps to take a few deep, slow breaths in the beginning to help feel that. Keeping the eyes closed, just try to take a few seconds to expand your lungs and chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 1 or 2 seconds. And then slowly breathe out. And take a few more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. And we're going to count the breaths from 1 to 10 to try to develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. So with the next incoming breath, mentally count to 1. With the outgoing breath, also count to 1. With the next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In breath, 3. Out breath, 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. Out 9. In 10. Out 10. Now just continue the counting, just continue to feel the in and out breathing, keep the mind focused. You're moving through the nostrils with the expanding and contracting sensations, abdomen, chest. Just know when you're breathing in and know when you're breathing out. And in between the breaths, know that you're sitting. Feel the sitting body. Short pauses between the breaths. Remind yourself of sitting. Just breathing in, sitting. And breathing out, sitting. Just over and over and over again. Coming back to that natural connection with the breathing body, present moment with the breathing body. in, sitting, out, sitting. At the same time, be aware of thoughts and take you away, letting go of your thoughts. Just try to see how each breath is different, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Become like a scientist in the laboratory looking down to the microscope, understanding the breath process. Especially with each out breath, allowing the body and mind to relax more and more into the present moment. If you're already well concentrated, you can then observe the flow of impermanence, sensations, thoughts, sounds, coming and going to the senses. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way, may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha.
Thank you, Venerable Yoga Vichara for that wonderful explanation. Now we're going to go to the second speaker, which is the Venerable T.K. Nagagaki. If you can please try to keep your discussion no longer than 15 minutes, so we have time for the viewers, if in case they have any questions at the end.
Okay. Yeah. So I hope you can hear me okay. Thank you. Okay, great. So first of all, yeah, my name is TK Nakagaki, and actually my tradition is Japanese, but then Japanese tradition has a various school of Buddhism, so we sort of emphasize differently. And so if you are familiar with the Japanese tradition, probably you may know what I mean, but it's in one way, I don't know, that's a personality of Japan itself. I don't know, more of what do you call it, individual base. And so it's sorry about. By the way, I'm here in a little bit noisy place, so I hope you are hearing okay. I just wanted to yeah, apologize beforehand. So yeah, actually, I don't know. The truck is, for some reason, I have a big truck sounds in a side. So, but anyway, for Japanese tradition, that we have, some of the school of Buddhism combine everything together, and then the other school of Buddhism focus on the one thing. it's like an idea of today we have a Nichiren, the school of Buddhism. They always emphasize Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, and in my school of Buddhism, Pure Land, Jodo Shinshu or Jodo Shu also focus on the Amitabha, the Nembutsu, or saying the name of the Buddha. So in one way, if you say which one is the main practice, that's the saying the name of the Buddha in my case. And then that sounds pretty easy, but at the same time, yeah, it is an easy practice so that everybody can practice is a very important things. Sometimes all the practice that you can do is, only limited people can attain, but then most of the other people may not be able to. So it's always especially Pure Land Buddhism, focusing on the compassion and then reaching out to the people who can't do. And so that's a little different approach. So, sometimes difficult practice is nice if they can achieve it. It's like a best university of the school. If that's the case, then only limited people can study, and then they'll be able to enter the particular school. And so that kind of a same idea in a part of the understanding of Buddhism. And so especially this particular Pure Land Buddhism itself developed towards the common people, and who may not be able to practice like monks and the others to or not much of blessed by the abilities and so forth, and but still interested in the learning, and also should be also important to be saved, or important to be liberated. So that's one part of the things. The meditation is, of course, one way of practice, and basically, today what I'm going to explain is the Nembutsu, the main practice that I said. And maybe I should share a little bit of the characters, so I know you know what I'm talking about. And I just wanted to explain a little bit about the meaning of it. And okay, I should be able to share the screen too, right? I didn't really prepare like screen sharing. So, but I'll just share whatever the things that I have here. Um, Wait, sorry. Just so meditation from the various tradition that I understand. So the school of Buddhism, Pure Land Buddhism. So the first character is a pure. But meaning free from greed, anger, selfishness. So it's like free from three blind passions. Do means the place, which is a place or the grounded. And so the state of mind could be grounded, and some people consider that physical place too. But anyway, so Pure Land, they directly translated this word Pure Land, and but basically the land, or which is the enlightenment, the land of enlightenment, basically free from greed, anger, selfishness. And Shin, the third, is actually true, meaning of the truth. And so focusing on the truth, not the false anyway. And Shu is more like a school of Buddhism. And one of the major practice that I write it here is the Nembutsu. So those are the character we have, Nen, Butsu. And I just put a little bigger picture. So this is actually what we call Nembutsu Nen, as the this is a character of Nen, right? And then that means more like meditate, or be mindful, or visualize, and recite. Those are the four different ways that we use. So the same words Nembutsu has a different meaning, actually, depending upon the school of Buddhism. Sometimes meditation of the, and then, oh, sorry. And then this particular character has those, the two parts, top part, this now, meaning basically now, present. And then the bottom side is the mind. So basically, this word's mind is present. And so the mindfulness really is this character when they translate into Chinese. And then, of course, Japanese Buddhism tend to have more like a Chinese influence. And so the Chinese Buddhism has at least they translated the Nembutsu as way to, Nen as a character of meditation, mindfulness, and so forth. So the same parts, so present moment. So we always focus on the present moment as the whatever the practice of this Nembutsu, and then the Butsu is actually Buddha, basically. So this one word itself is focusing on the Buddha, meditate on the Buddha. So of course this means the one of the three treasures, of course, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, meditate on the Buddha, meditate on the Dharma, meditate on the Sangha, and but Nembutsu focus on more like a Buddha side. So the Buddha in this case, of course, there's Shakyamuni, Buddha as many parts of the Theravadan tradition. But then in the Mahayana, of course, there are many different Buddhas. So in general, any of the Buddha is a Nembutsu. But then when we have, especially like a Pure Land Buddhism, when we say that's more like Amitabha, focus on Amida as the. But then Amida, I didn't, really explain everything. But then the Amida means simply saying means like negation, mita, the measurable, to measure. Amitabha and Amitayus. So one is Abba means light, and Ayus is life. So immeasurable light, immeasurable life, Buddha. So basically focusing on the enlightenment itself, beyond the words, basically beyond the thinking, beyond the thoughts and everything. And so anyway, so the Buddha sometimes meaning like meditating on which part of the Buddha, sometimes they focus on the shape of the Buddha, even like the all those different part of the characteristics of the Buddha, well, virtue of the Buddha, quality of the Buddha, and then sometimes the become the or like visualize the Buddha, and then also they become the recite of the Buddha. So Buddha is thinking of the Buddha always as like a recitation, right? When you say the name of the Buddha, then you always remember the Buddha. So the simple practice, but yet saying somebody's name, some names, then you constantly reminds you to the Buddha. So anyways, so that's the one of the main part of the practice. And sorry, I'll just get out from the sharing. Oh, sorry. So I know I don't have much of time. So I mean, there are many other parts, and which sutra we're talking about. There are 3 sutras, more like mainly based upon for the Pure Land Buddhism. Rajaskavati Vyuha Sutra, and then the second one is actually Meditation Sutra on the Pure Land, and the third one is the kind of smaller Skavati Vyuha Sutra. Those are 3 sutras that mainly based upon, and so anyway, so what we do is normally is saying the name of the Buddha. And so what I would like to just do today is maybe saying that Namo Amitabha or Namo Amitabu or Namo Amidabu or I mean, this is common in Chinese, Japanese, any other Buddhist. I don't know Tibetan how to say Namo Amitabha, maybe Namo Amitabha, and Chinese Namo Amitofo, and Korean Namo Amitabu, Namo Amitabu, And then if it's Vietnamese, they say Namo Adi Dafa. And then Japanese, Namo Amitabha. So it's like the same words, but then it just came to the one of the probably common Buddha in a Mahayana tradition. So, so idea itself again is it's more like not the historical Buddha we are focusing, but then what's the Dharmakaya or Sambhogakaya Buddha, which is beyond the words, but then not focusing on just whatever you see, but go beyond. Enlightenment itself is not just that person or the quality of the Buddha, right? Not meeting of just a physical meeting, but rather, well, we can say spiritual meeting, I guess. And so that's the word beyond your calculation. So maybe I have 2 minutes, I guess. So just to reciting the name. So Namo Amitabha. Maybe I'll just go slow, and if you like to repeat after me. But then normally Namo means also like a taking refuge, and then Amitabha together. So that normally my like left hands represent Namo parts, and then the right hands represent Buddha the part. So we just place the palms together and recite the name. So just do slower, so if you can do together, and then maybe you can make it a little bit faster and so forth. And thinking of the compassion of the Buddha or oneness with the Buddha, and bringing your present moment of the Buddha. So in this moment, you're meeting the Buddha and always together with the Buddha. Namo Amitabha. 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 Thank you, and peace to you all. And this is my 15 minutes, I believe exact. Okay, thank you.
Venerable TK Nagagaki. That was very interesting and explanation of your practice. And now we would like to welcome Venerable Geshe Darge to explain your tradition.
Hello, everyone. So today I'm taking place of the monks Venerable Yonten Gyaltsen. So last minute he cannot come some reason. So I'm taking his place. Then I don't know like physically I'm taking his place, but mentally I don't know how much I can take his place. But I try my best. So regarding meditation, what the Bandhe Rahula mentioned it exactly same that Mahayana tradition do. All the reason and way to doing and everything is same. And as Bande Nagagagi, the Venerable Sunmi Nagagagi explained it, which is reciting mantra or reciting Amitabha's name, is same. We have a lot of meditation with reciting mantra that Omane Pame Hom, Buddha Shakyamuni, we say Om Muni Muni Maha Muni, so many things that we exactly same we're doing it. So wonderful to see these all connections. So, and then additionally, maybe not, I can explain a little bit here. The source of our meditation is like the application of mindfulness, Samiddhapada Sadhana Sutra, or Samadhi Raja Mahayana Sutra, the King of Concentration, and so on. There are many sutras, but most of the time we use the Kamala Shila's textbook, The Stage of Meditation, called Bhavana Karma. The Bhavana Karma, that book, many times we use this when we teach the meditation. We use that book for teaching, because this book is collected all the type of meditation in this within book. It has a 3 chapter. So and then meditation means we might be all same as a bhavana, which is cultivating or familiarizations. Tibetan word say gom. Gom means familiarizations. It means we are repeating those objects again and again, either mentally or verbally. So there's we call meditation means, right? So, and then type of meditation. So so far we talked the 6 or 5 different type of meditation. The first meditation is same, the mindfulness meditation, or sometimes we call the meditation of concentration. Regarding that, Tibetan has this diagram to shows that the concentration meditation. This is so beginning from end, all the shamatha, the calm abiding. That's how to reach and what is obstacle. Each draw that you see has a meaning and reason. And then at the end, you see who's sitting there that achieve the calm abiding in shamatha. And then who go more up and facing down is like a more spatial insight. Those all we have a diagram with great explanations. So it just briefly shows to you this. And okay, so another things, let me stop that. Okay. So we start somewhere. Okay. Got it now. Okay. So, and then next, this is the part of mindfulness and concentration meditation. When we do concentration meditation or mindfulness or calm abiding or shamatha, the technique, the breathing, we all use the same. The breathing, also we do have many type of breathing meditation. That's, I think, most of us same. But our serious practitioner, when they try to get the concentration mind or calm abiding or mindfulness, they try to focus on a Buddha statue. And then not a really big Buddha statue, really small Buddha statue, and a little bit heavier, that you get the image. It's not really looking into it. So first you have to get image of those Buddhas, and then you are concentrate with the Buddhas without any obstacle. The main obstacle we talked about, that singing and lingering or distractions. So those are the main obstacle for having mindfulness or concentration. That's we talked. This is one type of meditation that all we are same, but the technique we focus on the Buddha. So, and then why we focus on Buddha? Because we said also same time you get the training or concentrate your mind, and same time you will accumulate huge merit because you are focused on Buddha's image. That's the said it. And next type of meditation we call the meditation in the form of taking or apprehension something as an object, such as we try to see clear impermanence or selflessness or emptiness. the emptiness as an object, or selflessness as an object, impermanent as objects, and then meditating on it means we try to see it more clear. That's we call meditation in the form of taking apprehension something as an object. So such as when the person taking the fundamental truth of the one's conditions, like an ultimately transcend the nature of one's life, for instance, as the object of deep contemplations, such as like an impermanent. That's the one type of meditation. And third type of meditation we call meditation in the form of cultivation of positive mental qualities, which just means your meditation with compassion and loving kindness and bodhicitta. That type of meditation is not really keeping you compassion as an object and you are mentally focused on it, not like that. So our mind try to transform into the compassion. Our mind right now what we have it, those mind is try to cultivate in loving kindness and bodhicitta. That's what we call the meditation form of cultivation of the positive mental qualities. So let me read, I have here, such as the compassion and loving kindness. Here, compassion and loving kindness are not so much at the object of meditations, rather the person seek to cultivate these qualities within her or his or herself. That's the third type of meditation. And fourth type of meditation is here talking the meditation as visualization or simulations. The visualization or simulation, such as a way the person visualize himself or herself as going through the various stage of the experience of the dying. So that's one example. And the visualizations, we do have also many different type meditation with the Tantra practice. And then here the simulations or visualization, which is like you can take example as we are meditating on the experience of dying. So, and then last part of meditation, we call meditation the form of prayer. And the way, for example, the meditations aspire to attain the enlightenment, attributes of Buddha for the sake of bringing about the welfare of countless sentient beings. This is one kind of example what the prayer means. The prayer means not necessary for us the verbally you use some kind of line. Prayer is also represented meaning here connected with the wishing, right? So you're wishing, you're strongly wishing that I become a Buddha, and then all the sentient beings free from suffering, all the sentient beings free from samsara, and have the loving kindness, so on and so on. That's all the type of this we call meditation, the form of prayer, which is more try to wish it. So this is, I think we do have an additional meditation, and then also their objectives could be different while we use this form of meditation, right? So, and then right now I try to lead the meditation of the form of prayer. Now, Sunim Nagagagi recite the line and mantras. Now I'm more using that wishing, right? So, and then the posture of meditation is we call the Buddha Vairocana posture, the 7th posture of Buddha Vairocana. That's we talks, and then just let you know the 7 type of posture. We call the 7th posture of Buddha Vairocana. Not going all to here. And then regarding that eyes, and then all these things do exactly what the Bande Yogacha Rahula said it. And then the eyes is optional, that completely close or like a halfway to close, optional. But many of our masters recommended strongly do meditation with a half close, not the complete close. That's always said it. And then keep your posture, and then hand posture, there are many different ways to do it. But our way to do it, your right hands put in the left hand's palm left and touching 2 thumbs. These 2 thumbs, we consider it has a nerve of kindness and compassion. When it's get more warm, and then also help you to cultivate compassion. That's we do posture, and then most important is straight your body, and then saying how much you straight your body within your body, nerve system and blood circulations goes very well, and that much your minds function well and more clear. Therefore, straight body is most important here. And then otherwise you do hand gesture and eyes, whatever your way to do it is not very important now. It is short meditations. Okay, now in mentally our wishing from our depth heart, sincerely say, may all sentient being free from suffering and causes of suffering. Again, may all sentient being means included every single being who has a consciousness, who has an emotion, who does have a wish, and that insect, mosquito, and then who the animal lives in the water, who flies, who lives in the forest, who's a human being, every different, all this form of the human being, I mean like sentient beings, that we're wishing for them because they are suffering. So now next, again, continues, wish for them. May this all sentient being have a happiness and also causes of happiness. And finally, you can wish strongly, say, may I attain Buddha. May I become Buddha for sake of all sentient beings, for benefit for all sentient beings. Until you get feel, you can repeat this line again and again in your mind. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit for all sentient beings. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Venerable Dargay, for that really interesting, wonderful explanation. Now we're going to go to the fourth and final speaker, which is Venerable Dalipa Riyajan. Welcome, please.
Thank you very much. Venerables and all the participants, I wish you a pleasant day. I'm Dalipa Ryojun from Honmon Butsuryushu, commonly known as HBS. I'm a Sri Lankan. I was ordained in Japan under the mentorship of Most Venerable Nisso Fukuoka and Reverend Seijun Nagamatsu. If I may share my screen. Yes, so the name of my sect is Honmon Butsuryushu, which of course comes under the Nichiren tradition. I got ordained under Most Venerable Nisso Fukuoka and Venerable Nagamatsu back in 2010. Then I thought of starting this with a brief introduction of myself, since this is the first time that I'm joining this council, and also a small introduction to our tradition. So I graduated from the HBS Education Institute in Kyoto, and currently I'm based in Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan HBS Buddhist Center in Colombo, and continue my missions as an ambassador for HBS in the South Asian activities of our organization. I would like to thank the United Council of Sangha for inviting me, and especially Suana Thero, who's a long-term friend of mine, for coordinating us. I would like to say arigatou gozaimasu. Maybe some of our audience understand this term in Japanese. It literally means thank you, but in HBS, the Honmon Butsuri Issue, we are accustomed to greet each other whenever we meet, calling arigatou gozaimasu. In deeper sense, arigatou gozaimasu means that the existence is rare, or it's rare to be, to have, to exist. Something rare is most definitely precious. So it's a precious, rare occasion for us to be born as human beings and to meet here today beneath the refuge of Dharma. We express our gratitude for that to universe by greeting each other, arigatou gozaimasu. So I greet you all again in HBS way, arigatou gozaimasu. Actually, it's a very beautiful session for us to exchange our views and knowledge. As when I was listening to the earlier speakers, Venerable says that I felt that there are, of course, parallels between all our traditions and beautiful connections between all our traditions. So moving back to my introduction, Honmon Butsuri Issue, as I earlier abbreviated as HBS, was established in Kyoto by Reverend Seifu Nagamatsu, also known as Nissen Shonin, in mid-1800s. He was a famous, accomplished academic of his time prior to becoming a monk. However, HBS traces its lineage to great Master Nichiren, the forefather of Nichiren school of thought. So today, our tradition has spread into many parts of the world, and as of course, as Venerable Nakagaki explained, Nichiren Shonin's school is based on the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. He introduced the famous incantation of Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, which was revealed in the doctrines of 15th to 22nd chapters of the Lotus Sutra, the Saddharma Pundarika Sutra. And in our tradition, we name these 8 chapters as the primordial 8 chapters of the Lotus Sutra. It was named the primordial 8 chapters as Lord Gautama Buddha transforms into the form of primordial Buddha, or let's say into a form that transcends the time and space in these 8 chapters. Primordial Buddha then reveal and transmit the cause of Buddhahood, seed of Bodhisattva mind to the practitioners in all cosmic dimensions, regardless of time and space. So moving back to Nichiren, he teaches that the essence of these 8 chapters are embedded into Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Therefore, reciting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo wholeheartedly is a vocal meditation itself, which sow the primordial seed of Buddhahood into our mind. So in a way, the name Honmon Butsuryushu can be translated as the primordial Buddhism, or else as the sect established by the will of Buddha himself based on the primordial doctrine. Even our logo, Butsumaru, is based on this concept, containing two characters of Buddha and the character of establishment, which creates the meaning established by the Buddha. So reciting Namo Myoho Renge Kyo in front of this mandala format inscribed by Nichiren Shonin open our mind to the primordial seed of Buddhahood. As per the Lotus Sutra, especially according to the primordial 8 chapters, practitioners of Bodhisattva path can purify the 6 senses and invoke the deep into the Alaya Vijnana. So it enables us to eliminate the negative karma roots from our thoughts, and all the universal phenomena are found in a single moment of thought. So the Buddha nature can also be found in each of our thoughts. Purification of thoughts shall allow the Alaya Vijnana of each thought be cleansed and the mindfulness be achieved, so that the Buddha nature lies deep within shall be awakened. We usually recite Namo Myoho Renge Kyo daily in the morning and evening in front of the mandala, very much like this one at our temples or at homes. We do offer the water, food, light, incense, and flowers, and many of our consumables at the altar, as many Buddhist traditions do. Rhythm of the recitation is maintained with this kind of a basic xylophone, which I will play during the voice meditational session in a few minutes, I believe. So the rhythm of meditation is maintained with that kind of a xylophone, and we even play the drums while we engage in the recitation. It is very important to conduct the recitation, the chanting wholeheartedly with faith, shraddha, and also with pleasure. Such chanting is a beautiful recitation, which is a conversation with the living Buddha, unraveling the universe within one's own mind, one's own thought. Usually, the conduct of the recitation is for about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on one's commitment. On special occasions, we continue recitation for longer durations, such as, for an example, for 5 hours, which is calculated as the time it takes to recite for 10,000 times of Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. And HBS practitioners around the world are gathered at their temples for the morning chanting sessions, usually, where we recite Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, which is usually followed by a sermon. In HBS, we select one of a Dharma poem written, composed by HBS founder Nichiren Shonin, which was composed more than a century ago. These poems explain a certain aspect of Buddhism in quite an attractive manner, as we base the theme of our sermon with the flow of that poem. They are basically in the short poem haiku style of Japanese literature. So I would like to continue. I would like to start the voice recitational meditation, and also would like to invite all our participants to join us. We will start very slowly the chanting of Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, and I think it's a very simple practice where most of the people around the world can join easily and enjoy the bliss of that chanting. So let me start the chanting. Arigatou gozaimasu.
And then Dilip, I can request if you have the line that what you're going to recite, if you shows here, then everyone can recite it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I think it's very easy. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. So I will start the chanting. Thank you. Mushirai hobo zai shosho metsu konjin yori bushin ni itaru made tomo chita te matsuru om mon zon homon no kaidan homon jigyo hoppon shoken jogyo shoden honin geshu no namumyo horenge kyo namumyo horenge kyo namumyo horenge kyo honmon happon shoken jogyo shoden honin geshu no namumyo horenge kyo 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 Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。ブルサラ。
Thank you, Venerable Dilipa Ryojan, for that very interesting explanation. Now, before we conclude today's discussion, we will take perhaps a question or two from the viewers, if there are any.
Hi, I might have a quick question.
Okay.
The meditation that was just done, did I understand that that was helpful to purify the storehouse consciousness?
Yes.
Thank you.
So if there are no more questions, the discussion is now over, and Venerable Suda Dara will conclude the discussion and share the merits.
Before Venerable Sudhara is speaking, I apologize to interfere. I think Venerable Geshe Darge was we introduced him true to my memory, but if not, apologize for that. Venerable Geshe Darge from Tibetan tradition. He is also the secretary of the United Sangha Council. So I know he doesn't mind even if not mentioned, but just to clear it. Okay, Venerable Sudhara, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That the all, especially I would like to thank on behalf of the Connecticut Buddhist Council, that the all the speakers today, starting from Venerable Bhante Rahula, Venerable T.K. Nakagaki, Venerable Geshe Darge, and Venerable Dilipa Ryoshu, and then also our very efficient moderator Stacy, and all of you for participating in this very important session about introducing Buddhist meditation from different Buddhist traditions. So this is again, this is the best intra-Buddhist dialogue. So that's for thank you, and always and also today there were more than 27 participants at one time. So for I thank all of you for participating in this session, and also this dedication of merits is the next. May this session of investigating Dharma to understand widely or deeply the Buddha's teachings helped us to reduce our greed, hate, anger, delusions. And by doing that, we have accumulated a lot of wholesome forces. May all these wholesome forces be a blessing for all to be free from suffering and attain freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Venerable monks and everyone. And I want to mention again, this is just a very brief, very short introduction to meditation. Actually, it's there's even I cannot even think about any example how little introduction it could be. So each and every tradition and all the speakers had a lot to speak about, hours and hours. So I thank you them all. Thank them all for making it so short and nice to make introduction. And we are going to conduct a similar topic in the future too. And our Dhamma and Dharma program, it's monthly program. Every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, New York time, and to 9 o'clock in the evening, we conduct this program. So next time also we wish to invite all different kinds and types of practitioners and to conduct a similar type of program. And thank you again, everyone, for on behalf of the United Sangha Council. Though this is started in Connecticut, actually it's not limited to Connecticut state or area. This is for all the United Sangha community. So that's why it's called United Sangha Council. So thank you again, everyone, on behalf of United Sangha Council. Thank you. I think Venerable Sutadhara or Venerable Geshe Dharge, in one of your traditions, you can conclude in the session by reciting a blessing stanza.
May all who suffer be free from suffering. May all who have fear be free from fear. May all who are in sorrow be free from sorrow. Dukkha patta cha nidukkha, bhaya patta cha nibhaya, soka patta cha nisoka, hantu sabbe pipanino. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, everyone.
So much, everyone.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Next month, October 3rd, Monday. Please join everyone. October 3rd.
I don't think I'll be here.
Always the first Monday, right, of the
Yes.
month.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Wonderful
Yeah,
day.
good night.
Good night.